Hello again, YouTube. Heir of Carthage, bringing you a Rome Total War online battle on the Grassy Flatlands. I almost always play in the Grassy Flatlands. That's where most players really only want to play. Alright, I'm playing as the Greek city-states. You can see I have 6 units of gold upgraded armored hoplites. I have 2 units of Spartan hoplites with minimal upgrades because they don't really need it. And then I have 4 units of gold Greek cav, and then I have 5 units of completely unupgraded Cretan archers. Of course, Cretan archers don't need a whole lot of upgrades to be fairly effective. I am playing against, let's look at my opponent's name, looks like Admiral Lazyboy123, and the game with my opponent seemed pretty normal at first, but he got a little bit angry and rude at the end. But oh well, still had fun with it. My opponent made some fairly, I'm not going to say he's a noob because I don't know, but he made what I call noobish mistakes, and I don't mean that in an insulting way to anybody. I just mean that he's making mistakes that a lot of players new to Rome Total War make, which is his troops are very unupgraded, and he went for large quantities over quality. And in games like Napoleon Total War or Empire Total War, that can be a good strategy, and on rare occasions in Rome Total War it is, but generally at 15k, that is not a good strategy. So here I'm encircling his Praetorian Cav. I have my Spartans in there, a unit of armored hoplites, and my Greek cavalry. And this is how you should play as the Greeks. You should be hesitant to engage your cavalry until your enemy's cavalry has made a mistake. And here, my enemy's cavalry did make a big mistake by engaging my Spartans. Maybe a normal hoplite unit, you could have charged down the Praetorians. Maybe if they were upgraded it would have helped. But because they weren't, my opponent's horsemen are going to pay a big price. So yeah, my opponent should have been more patient with his cavalry and let his archers do some work first. Then when his infantry was occupied with mine, his cavalry would have been of more use because I wouldn't have had so many supporting units. And my opponent does make one last kind of angry charge at the back of my hoplites who are moving back into formation. And his troops are unupgraded, and mine are very upgraded, so he has minimal effect except for that one flying man there. And his units are going to rout and then get peppered by his own flaming arrows. And so my opponent's using flaming arrows. That's actually a mistake in this situation. Flaming arrows are great whenever you're trying to get wavering troops to rout or instill fear in your opponent. When I say instill fear, I mean literally cause the morale deficit due to your troops being scared of the flaming attack. And my opponent now switched back, which was the right move. You can see that I'm bringing in some pretty devastating volleys of archer fire. My Cretan archers, I'm focusing all their fire on one unit of archer auxilia at a time. Let's take a look at my opponent's infantry before I attack. He's got a legionary first cohort here, some Triarii on his flank, decent idea. And then up the middle, he's got his urban cohorts, which looks like 4 units of them. And even without upgrades, they're going to be able to hold their ground. They're not going to be overly effective, but they'll hold their ground. Here he has another legionary cohort and Triarii there as well. And then he has one last unit of Triarii guarding his archers. So he was definitely expecting me to attack his archers. Or at least not wanting me to be able to hammer and anvil his troops. So I'm going to do a classic Prince of Macedon style phalanx charge here. And I don't know if he was the one that really made it up or not, but I like using it. So I charge my hoplites right into his urbans, and then go into phalanx mode. I also took my hoplites off of guard mode, because I want them to push into the enemy hoplites and cause as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible. You can see though, even his unupgraded urbans are holding the ground pretty darn well. They're taking losses, but I mean they're there, and they didn't instantly rout like most unupgraded units wouldn't. Now my opponent had a couple units of Arcani hidden, and he's going to actually use them pretty darn well here to get them on the flanks of my Spartans, and he's also pillar-storming my Spartans, because these Triarii really don't have a snowball's chance of defeating these Spartans. So I'm running amok with my cavalry in the background. I'm going to take out some of his archers. Here we'll get some of that. His archer auxilia getting pummeled. There they go. And then I'm going to regroup my cavalry for some hammer and anvil. Of course, I'm killing some of my own horsemen with my incoming archer fire as well. Here in a moment, I tell my archers to cease fire. So you can see that his Roman line is pushing hard, but they're pinned against a very thick wall of spears. And this is exactly how you want Romans to get set up. And it's kind of a 1-2 setup. So the first setup is your hoplites in position, and then you bring your cavalry in. So there we go. My cavalry's going to come in there and plaster some Romans, and even kill the Roman general.
The enemy general is killed.
So now there's definitely a morale loss for my opponent's troops. But like I said, look at these Urbans, unupgraded, getting pummeled from the front and the back, and still standing their ground. Now you know why I hate these guys so much, because they're so incredibly strong. And if my opponent had upgraded them, this could have been a very different fight. In any case, there I've routed out his Arcani that hit me with the surprise attack. You can see my Spartans are still standing, and at this point, my opponent's army started to rout, and he typed in FU, and then quit the game. Some pretty bad manners, but I guess whatever. I must have made him angry. It's okay when you lose to just go ahead and say things like "good game." Before I filmed this battle, my opponent defeated me as I played as Rome, and he is the Greek city-states, and he did a very good job. I can't remember his name, or else I'd tell you. But yeah, he did a great job. Anyway, I hope you learned a couple of lessons from this battle. Number one, like I've said 100 million times, if you're going to start playing Rome Total War Online, upgrade your troops. You've got to upgrade your troops. And then also, be nice. There's no reason to go online and act like a jerk. You just need to be patient, and if you lose some battles, you'll learn from it. And I can't tell you how many times I wanted to start getting mad whenever I was losing so many times online, but I managed to keep my cool. So my opponent had another unit of Arcani back here that are fighting my Cretan archers. I didn't even know that they were here, and I have my Cretans off of fire at will, so little did I know that they're just sitting here sword fighting these heavy infantry. So you can see the Arcani pretty well cutting them down, but you know, since their whole army has routed, they don't really have a whole lot of hope left for defeating my entire army, and so they're shaken. And there's only 8 of them left.
Utterly beaten.
Alright, so there they go.
This is a crushing victory, where we have a great general.
And let's get the battle results. So that was a heroic victory for me. You can see I was under the name of Hasdrubal the Fair tonight when I went online. And he was one of the historic Carthaginians, not the brother of Hannibal. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that battle.